اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. The blessed month of Ramadan is passing us by very quickly. In this month, each person who attempts it, they are able to acquire many means of attaining nearness of Allah, and this includes the recitation of the Holy Quran, studying religious books, and attending the dars of the Hadith, and there are many other means and methods of trying to attain the nearness of Allah and trying to compete with each other in attaining and performing good works. In today's dars, Imam Sahib is saying that Imam Sahib wishes to present certain things which help us in competing with each other in doing good works. In today's tradition, is been taken from Abu Naim bin Hilya, but the subject here is very beautiful. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Ya ayyuhan nasu, inna dunya arazun khatirun, yakulu minha al-barru al-fajiru, fa inna al-akhirata wadun sadiqun, yahkumu fiha malikun adilun qadirun, yahiqqu fiha al-haqqu ويبطل الباطل كونوا من أبناء الآخرة ولا تكونوا من أبناء الدنيا. This is a long tradition. Imam Sahib says the translation will be presented, and the same subject of the love of the unnecessary wealth unnecessary love for wealth and riches, and to spend over much on oneself and then to keep wealth saved up. The translation of this tradition is that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that, O people, this world is a wealth which goes by. It's a very beautiful way of explaining this, that do not attach yourself to your wealth and do not spend your entire life gathering wealth, because this world is wealth that will be gone. Just as life is gone, similarly wealth is also gone, will also be gone. And then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that this is a fruit that is granted to the good and the bad. Some have less, some have more, some have less greed, some have more greed. Some have the ability to spend it in a good way more than others. So both the good and the evil manage to partake of this wealth. But then the Holy Prophet ﷺ says that this wealth belongs to this world and it shall remain in this world, but the promise of the hereafter is a true promise. Each person, whether they are rich or poor, will eventually go towards Allah. The era of the hereafter will come, and this is a true promise, and one should have a firm trust in this promise, and by remembering this, one is able to spend in the right way as well. So sometimes people's hands stop in the spending in Allah's cause, but a person who believes in the hereafter, in the promise of the hereafter, and he spends it for the sake of the hereafter, then he will attain the benefits of the hereafter. And then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that on the day in the hereafter, the real and true sovereign, who is just and powerful, his truth will become manifest, and when each person shall be presented before him, and at that place the truth will become clear and manifest. And so this was one of the indications of the hereafter, that with reference to each person, the truth will become proven as the truth, and the falsehood will become apparent as the falsehood, and then the one who is true will get a goodly reward, and the one who appears to be false, then he will have a painful reward. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ gives us the advice that, O ye people, become the progeny of the hereafter, and do not become among the progeny of this world. So keep the hereafter in view, and always and your point of focus should be the hereafter, and do not become the progeny of this world. It means that those people who, while they live on this earth, they regard this as everything, and whatever wealth they have, they try to gather the wealth, and they do not spend in the cause of Allah. And you should not hesitate to spend in the cause of Allah. You should believe firmly in the hereafter, and do not become of those who are children of this world. This hadith has each word of this hadith have extremely meaningful words, and this should be remembered, and we should reflect deeply on these words, that while living in this world, you should be worried about the next world. And we mentioned this in yesterday's tradition as well. And there's another tradition which is in a similar vein, which Imam Sahib says that he will present now. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Yahramu ibn Adama wa yashibbu minhu isnani, al-hirsu al-mali wal-hirsu al-umri." This tradition has been taken from both the books of Bukhari and Muslim, and is the same subject, that man should protect oneself from the greed for wealth. And there is another greed as well, which is born, which increases as one's age goes on. As Imam Sahib says that he will present the translation of the hadith again, that man becomes old. A person who is born is a child, and then he becomes young, he becomes an adult, and then he becomes old. Every person has to go through these stages, and some obviously go through only two of these or only one of these, but many people attain the final stage. So even though a person becomes older and older, and his age it increases, but there are two qualities which become younger and younger as the time goes on. So it means that when a person is young, he becomes old and becomes weak, but two of his qualities become younger and younger. It's a very beautiful manner which is worth remembering, that two qualities that every person possesses, that he desires, that instead of becoming weaker, they become stronger and they become younger. And this is the first of these qualities, which increases in an old age, is the desire for wealth, the greed for wealth. Imam Sahib says that when a person gets older, his greed increases of gathering wealth, and then also he becomes hesitant in spending in the cause of Allah, and this goes on. This not only arises, it goes on increasing. So it is often seen at an older age that people have the desire to gather wealth, and to obviously to earn wealth as well. So once again, let's look at the translation of this tradition. It's the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that as one grows older and older, obviously as one's age increases, but two of his qualities become more youthful. The first is the desire or the greed and the yearning for acquiring wealth. This habit becomes younger and younger. And the other is the desire to live a longer and longer life. So people think that I'm now this old. May Allah enable me to live even longer. So it's as if one attaches oneself to the world and one desires to have a longer and longer life. So these two things should be remembered, that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that there are two qualities which become younger and younger. That is the yearning for wealth, and also the greed of becoming longer. And the reason why they want to live longer is because he wants to enjoy and gather more and more of the world's what the world has to offer. So both of these desires increases as one grows older. So we should always remember that this time in this world is a temporary phase in our lives that we have to go through. We come into the world, and naturally after we are a child we become an adult, and then we become old. But after we become old, one's desire to live longer goes on increasing, and also the love for wealth is born in his mind. So these two things one should be very careful about, that while gathering wealth, while earning money, one should not have greed and avarice, and one should not try to have acquisitiveness. One should not think that I should fill my money pouches. One should think that as long as the sun of life is rising upon me, then I should spend my wealth in such a way that can be of an advantage to me on the Day of Judgment. Imam Sahib says that in the Jamaat we have many different ways of spending money. For example, the wasiyat and the fund for the families of martyrs and orphans, and mosques that are being built. So these are the doors of heaven which Allah opens for the believers. Those who have money, they should spend as much as possible in the cause of Allah, and they should, so that they are able to enter into this door of heaven, that is of spending money in the cause of Allah. And the greed of trying to increase wealth so that they can have other benefits. Instead of that, one should continuously self-analyze oneself and think that now my age has become so long, and the next stage is the final stage of the hereafter, which awaits with a gaping mouth to take us in. So we should ask ourselves a question: what do I have to present before the Master? It should not be that we should just have the greed of living long and earning wealth. This is wrong to focus on this. Imam Sahib says that I presented this before as well, and this is something that he quoted previously, which is a verse of the Mian Bashir Ahmad Sahib, in which he said that you should spend in the cause of Allah, and the Mian Bashir Ahmad says that this gold and wealth will remain in this world. You should create the gold that will be useful for us on the Day of Judgment. May Allah protect us from the greed of attaining more and more wealth and the greed of trying to acquire a long life, and may we be enabled to spend as much as possible in the path of Allah. Ameen summa ameen.